My name is Olivia Kirwan. I am a strategic channel account manager in HubSpot as an employee number 25. So I'm here 7 years and I'm a sales coach, speaker. I was a sports person before COVID-19 hit. But the reason that I'm sharing these photos with you is that we're all in this together. This is a pandemic, right? We have to unite as a team. And today I'll be going through around how we deal with uncertainty during COVID-19 and also how HubSpot's responding. So how are we responding both from an employee point of view, but also from a product point of view? So I'll be taking those 2 points on board and going through those with you. So for an agenda, dealing with uncertainty, how we respond to COVID-19, some work from home tool tips, but really what's in it for you today is that you'll take away dealing with uncertainty. So how empathy is key, how processes, structure, and digital transformation is now forced upon us, right? But let's put a positive spin on this. Now is the time to prepare and to grow your brand and your business. The time is now. So before I move on, I'm going to ask a question. Can you just pop in the chat pane your role, whether you're in sales or marketing? And Ricky, if you could let me know just what the kind of the general response is.
Yeah, we'll do. Got sales and marketing.
Oh, that's a busy time, Seb.
Yeah, couple in marketing, sales. There's a good mixture, to be fair. Sales with a little bit of marketing.
Nice, Paul.
I like that. So I think we're about bang on even between sales and marketing.
Perfect.
And then we got the opposite way around. We got marketing, but with some sales. So there we go. Yeah, it looks a really even split between sales and marketing.
And that's perfect, Lisa, on the marketing side. So what I'll go through is I'm a salesperson in HubSpot. So I'll go through how I've adapted and changed, and we all have to adapt and change. I'll also go through how our marketing and how our sales enablement team have also changed their approach and how they're supporting sales. So I'm delighted to see that we've got a mixture from sales and marketing. So we'll go through both aspects of that. So there's something in here for everyone that you can take away from today and start to really think around your digital transformation, what you can be doing now and what you're going to do in the future when hopefully all of this is resolved and we can resume back to normality, whatever that is. But dealing with uncertainty, right? Be human, right? Ask people, how are you? Like, how are you getting on? What are you thinking? How can I help? Approach with empathy, really listen. Now's the time to be consultative and honest and transparent. Don't hide from the elephant in the room. Actually listen to your prospects, your customers, or your work colleagues. You know that you need to be empathetic and care, but ultimately at the same time, you can't afford to pause all activities. You have KPIs to hit. Potentially you may see a dip in your numbers. So if you're in marketing, you need to get ahead of this. Create the content that's relevant. Think around how now to use this time and what pieces of content are going to be relevant for your customers. So now is that time to process. Now is the time to put everything in place, and we'll go through that dealing with uncertainty and reviewing your tech stack. I'll take you through 2 examples today. One is of an existing customer. They just signed up with HubSpot last month, and a company called Exponia, right? They recognize that the world is now different, right? We need to be ready for the fast pace of that transformation. So they got on board with HubSpot because they identified that our customers need education and community now more than ever. So if you're in marketing, think about your customers. Think about how you can help them and what type of content that you can create that's relevant for them. Even if I look from a sales perspective, how I've adapted my approach is through an e-learning company last month, starting to understand what they were looking to achieve. So how did I actually do this? How did I go about showing empathy? Like, how do we actually structure in this? So some of you may have seen the layer framework before, right? But it's really fantastic for addressing empathy, right? Listen, okay? Let your customers have the floor and don't make assumptions. We're all quick to move forward, quick to make judgments around how someone should feel. Let them do the talking. Once you've done that, acknowledge. So when they've addressed what they're looking for, repeat it back and ask open-ended questions to learn more about their concerns. You need to be that trusted advisor and respond. So when you've done an appropriate exploration, that's what you need to do. So in the case for last month, it was that e-learning company I mentioned, right? They were seeing huge increase in the number of traffic, form submissions, requests now. They were scaling. They didn't know what to do. They needed segmentation. They needed automation. But they were like, we need to act now. Okay. So questions around listening to them. They're at the growth stage, right? They needed, for example, for COVID-19, they needed to react now. So they looked at HubSpot for Growth Suite from automation, sales, and services. And I asked questions around on the open-ended. Once I listened to them, I asked them, like, how long do you expect this to go on? What are you doing in the meantime? How are you preparing for the situation when it's resolved? Right? So this is one way that how I've adapted and how I've changed in terms of my process. I'm becoming more of a trusted advisor. But it's also important to recognize, and this is how HubSpot has also responded, is that there are different industries, right? You still want to be respectful and appropriate. Don't target the companies who are in the survive mode, the restaurants, brick and mortar, or if you do, and that's part of your business, tread very carefully here because it's a difficult time, right? So if you think about COVID-19, there are 3 different broad categories: the survival mode, adapt, and grow. If we look at adapt, we've got technology, software. Most businesses fall into this category. And once they stabilize from the shock, they need to make investments and strategies in the right place and focus on risk mitigation. Or if you're looking at growth, okay, e-learning, obviously that was one from last month. I'm just giving you an example, but these are focusing on time to value. So what HubSpot has done to change the way we're approaching stuff is our marketing team and sales enablement have come together, and they've actually identified for our sales team companies that are in the growth phase. So how we've shifted and adapted our approach is, from a sales perspective, I've now got a list of targeted companies for me to reach out because marketing has provided me with those. So when you're dealing with uncertainty, it's really important that both marketing and sales get together and understand what they're trying to achieve and how they can help their existing customers. So Joe in our sales and marketing, he used to be in sales, he's moved over to marketing. He now put this list together for all salespeople so that they can actually start to reach out and change our approach. Right? So that's one way that we have changed. I'll just move on to them. Oh, sorry. So that's how as a salesperson, I've changed, but also then how HubSpot has changed. As I've mentioned, Joe in our sales enablement team, he's done a fantastic job. He's actually put together for the sales team a list of all of those companies that I'd highlighted here. And he's put together templates for us to help them, and sequences and resources for the team, for the sales team. We're all now working fully remotely, right? Everybody is at this point. Well, most people are. And it's a tough time. So as a result, HubSpot and the marketing team have put together a whole page dedicated on remote working, how we can help from a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So we've put together resources for both internal and external. Ricky, do I see a couple of questions popping up, or?
No, it was just someone making a comment. It's a great idea to do something like that document because of the sort of dysfunctions in communications at the moment. So they were just saying you liked the idea. So it wasn't a question. It was just
okay. Do pop in questions, because this is something that we're going through. And I'm happy to share how HubSpot's actually doing from both a sales and marketing side of things. On the remote working, we've got a whole page dedicated. I'll share that with you. You can have these slides afterwards. You can start to think about the industries that you should be targeting or that can help more, that are adapting and growing. So we're helping from a remote perspective. We're also supporting parents, right? This is I can't even imagine. It's Ricky's son's birthday today. Ricky, I hope you don't mind me mentioning that, but it's Arlo. So he's jumping on here. He's got a kid, his birthday party. He's like, oh my God, Arlo's going to kill me now if I don't go out and make buns. But look, this is the new norm, right? If kids are running in on a Zoom, acknowledge it. Ricky, I suppose I'll ask you, I sent you guys over like the longest emails with a list of about 20, 30 activities to do for kids. How did you find that?
Yeah, no, fantastic. I think I forwarded it on to all of the parents at our company. So it was a great piece of content from you guys, to be fair, just showing empathy, understanding what we're likely to be going through at this time. So we really appreciated it, and it's definitely kept the kids entertained. So we're really happy about that.
I can't even keep me entertained. I'm like, so really important that you're showing even for your employees. So this is what we're doing from our employee point of view. We're working remotely, we're providing resources, we're supporting parents with activities. We've got mental health seminars and EAP support and counselling. We've got resources. We've got opening up communication. Our executive team each week are going through Ask Me Anything. We got AMA with Brian Halligan. He did it last week. We've got another one tomorrow or the next day. But it's really important to be going back to that transparency. Being open, being honest, helping your employees. This is a tough time, okay? And be there for, as I mentioned, on the parent side of things, like share those resources, create content around that. So that's some of the things that we're doing to help from an employee side. I will take you through what we're also doing from a product side, but at the moment, this is what we're doing. So I'm going to actually put this out to the field now. You know, I play football, to the panel, but the time for action is now. Okay, so if you can pop in, just bearing in mind some of the things that HubSpot have done, but what could you be doing, or what would you like to see your company do? So just pop that in the chat pane. This is now a time for a reflection. So what we've done, and I'll just go through, is support, seminars, parenting. We've changed our product. We've dealt with more information for marketing. If you can pop in the chat pane what you could be doing or what you'd like to see done, or else I'll start calling out people. Paul, are you still there? Henchy? Kaz? Just picking on people that I know. Internal AMA and more webinars. Social media. Investment in time and video. Excellent. Yeah. Great one, Lisa. Help with remote working and templates and resources. So these are all brilliant examples, whether you're doing them now or thinking about implementing. We're here. Video. Excellent. We had Yaniv on yesterday around video. And from our product side, I'm going to go through some examples around how HubSpot's also helping making video more accessible to you. Exactly, Paul. You can get more empathy across. I'm listening. Great one on the marketing, improving database for bounce back after COVID-19. Templates for new campaigns. Think about your digital transformation. So if you think about the questions that I was asking on the layer side, like what happens when this is all over? Like what's the processes? What are your structures? Now's the time for digital transformation. Now's the time to be reviewing your tech stack. What are you using? What processes are working? You need to be there for your customers now more than ever. Exactly, Julie. Couldn't put it better. Review and refine internal processes and make key solutions actionable. These are all great. I should have had more of these added in myself. But these are all excellent. So learn from each other. We're all in the same boat. Time to train more. Even I'd recommend using the HubSpot Academy, even if you're not using HubSpot. The resources on there are fantastic if you're looking at inbound marketing. It's a free course. You can pop it on your LinkedIn. I always find it fantastic resources, whether it's lessons or courses. They're free, they're up to date. And use this time to upskill, whether you're in sales or marketing. Great comments on here. So I'd mentioned on the employee side of things what HubSpot are doing, how we're helping support our parents, remote working, how we're creating more Ask Me Anything with the executives, creating more of a trusting environment. But also, what are HubSpot actually doing to help with the product? So what are we doing to help customers, right? We're adding in free tools. If you're not using some of these, I'd strongly advise starting to use them. We've added in free tools to help everybody in this time. I think if this is only for 90 days, this is available, but we want to help your businesses grow and succeed. I use the meeting links every day. This is amazing. So that you can save time, book meetings, get that set up. This used to be on only certain paid features. Now we're giving it for free tools. Quotes and e-signatures, video creation. So Paul had mentioned earlier around the video creation, and a few of you had mentioned video. So now we're giving this in the free tools. So even if you want to start to try it, this is a fantastic resource. We're removing limits. Okay, we recognize that some of the limits, and this page is also public, so that you can have a look at this afterwards. We're also looking at pricing changes. So we were due in April the 1st to increase our sales hub professional. We now decided that we're not going to increase the price on this because it's not appropriate. And then we discounted our starter growth suite. So this is for if people just want to start. Okay. Now, obviously, as well, I'm working with companies who are looking at the full enterprise growth suite. We recognize that at this point in time, that cash flow is an issue. So what we've done for our pro and enterprise customers is said, right, if you need help on the support and side of things, if you're a new customer, let's look at payment terms in terms of whether it's 60 or 90 days, because you don't want that cash flow going out. So you want to be able to get up and get running, get your processes and your structures in place, and then make payment once all of this is over. Well, hopefully it'll be soon over, or whatever those resources that you have your structure. You know how to deal with uncertainty by creating those processes and structures to help with your digital transformation. So this is how we help our existing customers. Sorry, my notes go. This is the remote working page that I'd mentioned. This is the one for beginners, intermediate, and we're also offering now a new course. We mentioned around upskilling. Now we're actually creating courses. I'm actually quite excited to take this one. I'm not sure if it's live, but we're working on it at the moment on working remotely. So acquisition sales course. This is based from a remote perspective. So really thinking about how we've moved in times. Now it's a really tough time. So bearing in mind what we've gone through is how HubSpot has changed from an employee side and a product side to dealing with uncertainty. I want you to start thinking about your digital transformation process, right? How can you look at your tech stack to deal with uncertainty? There's 3 areas that you look at: sales, marketing, and service. On the sales side of things, we're looking at video, meeting links, getting your processes and your structures in place. We're looking at all of these key things that are relevant for you. Now is the time to review your tech stack. How you deal with uncertainty, you need to adapt and change. If you remember on that layer that I'd mentioned, the fundamentals of that, right? What are you doing now? What are you doing in the meantime? How are you preparing for when the situation is resolved? So you want your full sales process ready to go seamlessly. You're getting everything in place. So that needs to incorporate everything from video, meeting links, quotes, playbooks, reporting, pipelines, tasks, queues. So that's from a sales perspective, right? This is how we help close our deals, still increase and help grow the business because we've identified who the key target markets are. However, from a marketing perspective, it's slightly different, right? We're now looking at different key things. We're looking at our SEO, our content strategy, right? We've now got the time to review this, starting to get clever, to get smart, to use agencies, to put together a plan in place on how we can help come out of this on the other side, but to grow as an organization. We'll have our emails and our automations and our structures in place, landing pages. We're now shifting from events to webinars. So where's the budget going? So now we have to think around, rather than offline and events, now we're moving to webinars. So while you have that time, additional budget or resources, this is when you need to be thinking about your tech stack and where you're positioning that. Think about social, another key thing. I think, Lisa, you had mentioned this one. So starting to promote more on social, starting to create more videos from a marketing perspective. And one of my favorite ones is revenue attribution, right? Marketing's doing all this great work, working really hard on that. But now you want to be able to say, how much revenue has our marketing team actually brought in? So we've gone through a really difficult time. We've gone through a pandemic, but we want to be able to identify how much revenue that our marketing has brought in, how much is attributable to them. They've done a lot of hard work here. They've supported sales, they've supported marketing, they've supported our growth in our business during this tough time. So let's have a look at that revenue attribution. And service, right? One of the key things that I'd mentioned at the start, Exponia, and one of the reasons they became our customer was because they recognized that our customers actually need education and community now more than ever. So one of the reasons that they come involved with the service side is really around delighting your customers. Like, think about what you're doing for your customers. How are you connecting with them? What are you looking at? You should be looking at that you can connect with them via email, live chat, bots, Facebook Messenger, phone, having conversations with them, keeping in touch with them, ticketing, making sure that they're getting their tickets, they're getting what the responses that they're looking for from your product or from your brand. You should have a knowledge base for them to be able to self-serve, for them to be able to go and find the answers themselves. Surveying, how happy are they? Now more than ever, this is important. You can even do it on your employees, whether it's NPS, whether it's satisfaction on responses to tickets. Start to think about your customers. It's really super important. Having processes in place, being able to report on how happy your customers are. So those are the 3 key areas and the tools that we recommend that you're having in place for this digital transformation. We've been forced into it. So now it's the time, in a positive way, to start to adapt, change, get processes and structures in place so that ultimately we can come out of this COVID-19, come out of this pandemic better as an organization, better as a team. We're here together and we want to have all of those processes and structures in place. Some work from home tools, as we're all working from home and remotely now. Or prepping is one of the key things. So just before this, my Zoom didn't work. So making sure that preparation is really important. I aged about 10 years just before this webinar because I could not get onto Zoom. I had IT, everyone involved, and I have no idea what that reason was. But preparation is key. So having strong internet connection, using your HubSpot CRM, Vidyard, other tools that I use is Zoom, making sure that works, checking it out before webinars. Ricky, I think, is delighted because he was going to have to do this webinar himself. So that was some relief to Ricky. I'd love a stand-up desk. I don't have one. I've just got one from IKEA here. But if at all possible, if you have one, that would be amazing. Try and keep distraction. So you do need to get up every so often, walk around. There's like a dog or a button that barks to remind you that now's the time you need to actually get up. Try and get a second monitor or do online quizzes. Just some work from home tools that are relevant and that we use here in HubSpot. So these are the ones that we use. Just to give some insight on that, as I know that was a couple of you had questions around that. And thank you. So as I'd mentioned, this is going to be around 20 to 30 minutes. But just to recap on this, be human during this time, okay? Listen, acknowledge, explore, respond, show empathy. Focus now on your digital transformation and your tech stack to really help deal with uncertainty. Use some of the things that HubSpot are doing. I'll share those links with you so you have access to that. Use more of that and see where we can help, and we're really got to pull together as a team here. But thank you. I'm opening up for questions now, and that was bang on 30 minutes.
Perfect timing as always, Olivia. Thank you for that. Yeah, if anyone could ask any questions in the chat, and we'll ask those of Olivia. The key things I took away from that was, I guess the big one is get ready for the new normal. Like, ask yourselves, how have your personas changed and adapted during this time? And when we come out of this, what are they going to want, and how can you adapt your product and service, your sales process, and your marketing for what they're going to want 3, 6, 9 months from now after going through this experience. And now's the time really to prepare for that. Review your tech stack, and we've seen that our end as well, and I'm sure you have, that people are using this time to get their technology and strategy and stuff in place. It's a good time, distraction-free time for some, not so much for others, but for the ones who have distraction-free time, it's a good time to do that and review your tech stack. I definitely need that dog bark button, like, to remind me to get up out my seat. Good shout on that. I think the tool I bought a couple of days into this was, I bought an Ethernet adapter for my laptop so I could plug into Ethernet, not just Wi-Fi. That was a bit of a godsend to me because I kept dropping out of Zoom calls. So that's my one tip on the tool side, is get yourself plugged into Ethernet if you can. But
actually, is there in the chat pane, is there any other good work from home tools that you're using that you find helpful? We can all at least be helpful on that. That's a really good tip on that side. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I use. That's kind of it on those ones. So if there's anything else in the chat pane, any other questions or any other tools that you're using, pop them in there. You see, these are the ones. Oh, I'd love a stand-up desk.
I probably need one of those.
Microsoft Teams.
It's in,
it's a Keating chair.
I don't know what that is.
Seb, tell us more. My back is broken.
It's intriguing.
Oh, an Ely. Okay.
There's something I was missing out on then. No.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think internal, we've switched Slack back on internally. Like, I know Stefan's saying with Microsoft Teams, we've switched Slack on at the moment. Obviously, a bit of a necessity. Paul's FaceTime, yeah, huge. I'm sure we've all, friends, colleagues, no matter what it is, doing a little bit less chatting and a bit more face-to-face calling, I think is a good idea. How have you found that in sales? Like, have people been more happy to jump on Zoom calls and have a chat with you just because they want to see another human's face?
Yeah. And to be honest, I say it like, how are you getting on? Yeah. And I'm like, and when I say like, or if people don't show their video, I'm like, hey, I can't see you. You're probably working from home. That's okay. I am too. I've got like a jumper on, but I've got a pair of shorts on as well. So just be real during this time and like say, put on your video because you want to gauge. And if there's a kid running in the background, that's pretty much the new norm now. It's different color, temperature and lights. Oh,
good shout.
Sab, you're coming up with some great ones.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a pretty awesome setup going.
Yeah, I'm like, can we turn off our camera? I want to see what Seb's is like. Different temperature lights. Like Seb, does that work, the temperature light? Do you find that good?
I like that, particularly saying during the winter months. I guess it can get a bit drab and dark. Obviously, we know all about that in England, and I'm sure many of the countries we're all from are the same.
Yeah, Ireland, it just rains.
Yeah, no, I think we've got the exact same climate as Dublin, so.
Yeah, he works from home 3 days a week. Yeah, same, Seb. So this is, for me, it wasn't as difficult with the transition from working from home, but some of you, I'm sure it's been hard. For me, it was more not being able to see my parents or family and friends. That's what I struggled with. And using either, as Paul had mentioned, FaceTime. Getting my 80-year-old dad onto FaceTime was fun, but we got there. But that's what's key. Like, if we can share all these insights, if your company can pop up a page around what you're doing from a marketing perspective, start to provide value and helpful resources.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll start wrapping up. Obviously, if any questions we have extra, we can forward those on to Olivia, so feel free to email those through. We'll also send through the slides as we did yesterday. Looks like Olivia's got a lot of good additional resources on there, which you can copy on the email, which is fantastic. But yeah, remember, same time again tomorrow on the same link. We've got Mike from 7 Cents. So Mike is an expert in everything about email marketing, and he'll give us some advice on how to use that channel during this situation. I'm sure, like many of you, email is a really important part of our strategy, so I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about using email marketing. So yeah, really looking forward. So I hope to see you all again, 1 o'clock UK time tomorrow. And
excited.
Thanks, Olivia, for agreeing to do this and support us all. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. Best of luck with your digital transformation, and speak soon.
Speak soon, Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.